He was the king of pop, whose sudden death stunned the world and launched a major murder investigation. Now, for the first time ever, TV Guide brings you a minute-by-minute account of superstar Michael Jackson's last days.
He was just in a great mood, and singing and dancing just had lots of energy.
We'll take you inside his final rehearsals that Tuesday and Wednesday.
Wednesday night at 12:30 a.m. he gave me a hug and whispered into my ear, "Now I know I can do this."
The last thing Michael Jackson said to me was, "I love you."
Get brand new details of the drama unfolding at his mansion that fateful Thursday.
He comes down the stairs and he starts screaming frantically. Me and the children are downstairs. Paris starts crying, "Daddy, Daddy."
Learn exactly what happened at the hospital as desperate doctors tried to save the superstar.
He wasn't wearing a shirt. He was barefoot, just in the trousers.
And see who surrounded the singer in those last hours and who may be in trouble.
It's hard to understand why Dr. Murray didn't call 911 right away.
He was absolutely glassy-eyed. He had no expression on his face. That was Dr.
Michael Jackson, his final days, next on TV Guide.
I said, they're killing me.
On June 25th, the world lost one of the greatest entertainers of all time. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was dead at the age of 50. But what happened to the singer in the days leading up to his death? I'm Veronica Cruz. TV Guide Network investigates the real story with exclusive and candid interviews from those closest to the superstar. We begin on Monday, June 22nd, when Michael Jackson awoke uncharacteristically early to come here, the Beverly Hills office belonging to his longtime dermatologist and confidant, Dr. Arnold Klein.
9 a.m. Michael Jackson left his rented mansion in the very ritzy LA neighborhood of Holmby Hills for an appointment at Dr. Klein's Beverly Hills, just 2 miles away. An appointment that was unusually early for a reason.
And he left early in order to avoid paparazzi and all the fans that were always there outside of his house.
Michael was going to the dermatologist, Dr. Klein, 2 and 3 times a week at least, maybe more. And that had been going on for a long, long time, for years and years. We don't know what he was doing with Dr. Klein, but we do know that he was seeing him all the time, and which would have been unnecessary for dermatological problems.
Widespread reports suggested Jackson was hooked on all kinds of pain medication and other powerful prescription drugs, including propofol, an anesthetic that's only supposed to be given in a hospital setting. Even so, Dr. Klein insists his patient was just fine that Monday morning.
He was a very good physical condition. He was dancing for my patients. He was very mentally aware when we saw him, and he was in a very good mood because very happy.
After visiting Dr. Klein's office, Jackson is said to have headed home.
He's a great father, takes care of his kids very well.
And 12:30 p.m. was typically reserved for Paris, Prince Michael, and Blanket.
Lunch was around 12:30. He'd come down and have lunch with his children. He loved this seared ahi tuna salad and niçoise. He'd eat things like that, or spinach salad with grilled chicken and pecan vinaigrette. We would do tacos, but it would be, ground vegan beef, because he didn't eat meat and he didn't eat pork, neither did his children. But on the weekends, we would do comfort food Saturdays. So it would be fried chicken, and he liked KFC. He loved gumbo.
2 p.m. Travis Payne, choreographer for the superstar's upcoming comeback tour, came over to discuss the show.
On Monday, we started the day like we always did. We would review what was coming for the evening's rehearsal.
Later in the day, Michael headed to Staples Center for a full rehearsal.
Monday, specifically, we worked on the big numbers that had what he called the chunks in them, where he was to be in unison with the dancers. And those would be Jam and Smooth Criminal, his classics, Dangerous, Thriller, things like that, The Way You Make Me Feel. So we spent a lot of time reviewing those numbers, because those are the chunks where he's got to tuck in and be with the dancers. And he really wanted to be as good as he could be with all of these new, 20 to 30-year-old dancers. And he was doing a great job.
9 p.m., typically the time Dr. Conrad Murray arrived at Holmby Hills. He is, of course, the cardiologist hired as the singer's live-in physician.
Dr. Murray was on the property 5 nights, at least 5 nights a week. And
my understanding was he was there all night to monitor Mr. Jackson.
Also by 9 p.m., Chef Kai Chase had to have dinner ready to go.
I was supposed to prepare the meals for Mr. Jackson and Dr. Murray before I left, and put them in the refrigerator. So the schedule I knew is Dr. Murray gets to the house when Mr. Jackson gets there. He'd heat up his food for him.
By all accounts, Jackson had a punishing rehearsal schedule, and that Monday night he didn't get home until well after midnight. Maybe that's what had prompted a disturbing conversation between him and Kai Chase, most probably on that Monday.
I spoke with him, and he looked very thin, and he had told me, he pulled me to the side, he said, you know, I'm happy that you're here. I need you to keep me healthy. I know you know what you're doing. I know you're good at what you do, and I need you to keep me healthy through the food, because, you know, they're killing me. You know, they're killing me. I'm really working a lot. I'm rehearsing a lot, and you could see that. You could just see, you know, he was working hard, and he looked like he was tired.
And with a massive 50 concert tour just about 3 weeks away, Jackson's days were only going to get busier.
Hold for applause, slow umbrella fade out. In the history of our nation.
With his last week pretty much dominated by preparations for the London tour, Tuesday, June 23rd began routinely enough. Around 8 a.m., Chef Kai Chase arrived at the Jackson home in Holmby Hills.
I start preparing the breakfast for the children, granola and almond milk.
Approximately 10 a.m., breakfast time for Michael Jackson.
I was never allowed to go upstairs. You know, it was part of the house rules. Dr. Murray usually comes downstairs to get some juice, the fresh and organic juices that I make for Mr. Jackson, whether it be the organic fresh beet juice that he liked for iron, or green apple lemon ginger for energy, organic, or both.
I read these reports that you know, he had bedrooms that were very messy. A lot of the upstairs rooms were very hot. He would get very cold, so they had the gas fireplaces and the heat turned all the way up.
After sending up Jackson's breakfast, Kai would have gotten busy with lunch that the singer and his children normally ate around 12:30 p.m.
My job was to have the food ready by that time. Whether Mr. Jackson was leaving, you know, to go to rehearsal later or whatever, just have the food ready by that time.
2 p.m., Jackson had another session at home with choreographer Travis Payne.
It was a definite feeling of, you know, sort of achievement by that time. We were very excited. We only had a few more rehearsals to go before departing for the O2 in these 50 shows.
In fact, Jackson, who had told Chef Kai Chase that Tuesday that he was packed and ready to go and was scheduled to leave for London in just 10 days on July 3rd. The Tuesday, June 23rd rehearsal at the Staples Center also apparently lasted until midnight and went particularly well.
He just had a lot of vigor. I was on stage at the time, as I would often do, stand in for him, warm the band up, I'd warm the dancers up. The lighting department would work with me because of the marks we would decide on he would hit. So I was taking the team through a rehearsal. Michael walks right out onto the stage, and he just sort of fell into place. And that ultimately was the clip that the world is now seeing, and they don't care about us.
Orianthe is the guitarist you see jamming with Jackson.
We just started running through the set, and MJ jumped up on the stage, and he was full of energy, and we just went through everything, and I was still getting the choreography right, and when to come out and whatnot, and always watching MJ, Michael, to make sure that you know, where he was going, especially when I was doing my guitar parts, that I sort of followed him.
For a guy who invented the iconic moonwalk, this new tour was a chance to show off some brand new moves.
Michael was the best improvisational dancer that I'd worked with. There were definitely new moves in store for This Is It. I certainly hope the world will get to see some of the moves and grasp the ideas. The thing about the tour is that it was a culmination of the classic quintessential Michael Jackson and all of his iconic messages and imagery, as well as new elements that reflected where we are today as a humanity.
It would have been, which is the tragedy here, one of the most amazing arena shows ever.
Coming up next, details from someone who was with Michael Jackson the night before he died.
The last thing Michael Jackson said to me was, I love you, see you at 2 o'clock.
Plus, hear new information about the drama in the Jackson home after his collapse.
We start panicking. You know, Paris starts crying, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy."
See how the singer got sucked into the dark world of prescription drug abuse.
But apparently he had a chronic sleeping disorder.
And find out if this was a tragedy that could have been avoided. Stay with us. We'll be right back.